Welcome back to Hour 2 of the starting lineup. Ned Reynolds out today. Be back with us tomorrow. In his stead, we have Dave Davis, the longtime Hillcrest media coach, teacher, journalism coach, baseball coach. He coached everything at Hillcrest. We'll at least say that now. But Dave's in studio, and we're also joined by
Art Hains.
Art Hains on the line with us. Good morning, Arthur.
Morning, guys.
Of course, our great sponsors are Marshfield Chevrolet, Swing Right Golf, Play It Again Sports, and Citizens Bank of Rogersville. We appreciate them. And we also appreciate our Ozarks Legends series we do every Wednesday here. And this week we're turning back the clock to the College of the Ozarks days of Al Waller parading the sidelines, whether as AD or basketball coach. Al, good morning.
Good morning, Art and Dave. And
hello, Art.
Scott.
Hello, Coach.
Good to see y'all.
You bet. We've taken Big Al off the golf course this morning, Art, to come in and visit with us. And it's
quite a deal.
It is. He lives at Point Royale, plays every day, drives his cart out to the first tee, beats the heat. You said if you're not done in 3 hours, you guys are mad, right, Al?
That's right.
Yeah, and the golf game now, how are we ready? Are you ready for the Super Seniors Tour or not?
No, not really. Not really.
Not ready? Well, we wanted to bring you back to kind of find out what you're doing now, and it's been a while since you left College of the Ozarks, retired as the athletic director in 2015, spent 37 years total at the school at Point Lookout, basketball coach for 25 seasons, compiling 458 wins. But you've never really completely left C of O, have you, since you got out? You've kind of found a way to be over there and help Shep figure out things from time to time.
Yeah, I still get back. I go to most of the home games, and like I said, they've been hosting the National Christian College volleyball and basketball tournaments, and I've been helping with those. So I'm still a little bit active with the college, and still love going out there. It's amazing, the coaching staff has not basically changed except now Shep's stepping aside, but it was the same staff I had when I left there, and it was a great group, so I always loved going out there and hanging around.
Art, you want to ask Big Al anything?
Yeah, Al, I mean, you had a lot of success over those years, and of course, something that you're really known for is the rivalry with Evangel, and you and Coach Jenkins going at each other. I know you were great friends, but that was a great rivalry. It's, I guess, still is.
Yes, it is. It really was. I mean, that game, we played with Evangel, and Coach Jenkins and I were such great friends, and we had fun. I mean, we did a lot of crazy things coaching against each other, and, when he used to always say in the media that when they were coming down to play us, they were coming down to the farm. And,
yep.
So we used to throw the hay bales around, and we even brought some cows in one time and had a milking contest. And then I'd go up there, and they made me an honorary city slicker one year. And so, I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was a great rivalry. People ask me about if I miss coaching. I said, I think I miss most is when I coached against my good friends, because it was fun. We had fun, and I don't see that in these younger coaches now. I don't know. It's just a whole different world.
Al, I was talking with Dave here about his, over 4 decades with Hillcrest, and you at C of O for 37 years. What was it about that Point Lookout campus and community that is so attractive and was so attractive to you to stick around so long?
Well, it's a great place to work, great atmosphere, great facilities, great support, and just the people. I mean, the students that come there, are great kids. A lot of them, need a lot of direction, and a lot of them haven't, nobody in their families had gone to college before, and it was just great watching these kids develop and grow and going out in the world and being successful. And I went there and started in 1977, and my goals were to go on to bigger and better things. I always wanted to be a big-time coach, and I always said my first year there we won 9, then we won 16, 18, 22, and 25. And I said it's time to leave. So I started asking some Division I coaches that I knew, and they told me there's two ways to get into Division I coaching. Number one, you got to come and volunteer, and then when something opens up, we, hire you. Or number two, we hire you to get a player. And I said, well, I don't have a player to bring, and I can't afford to work for nothing. So Scotty was 38 years. So 38 years, yeah. I was still there. And I found out, I always said the big time is where you are. That was sort of my motto at the end.
Coach, I was a student at Evangel, and when you brought a smile to my face talking about you and Coach Jenkins and the rivalry, the good-natured rivalry, of course, and I remember some of those days. I played baseball for Coach Jenkins. He coached baseball for a while. He did double duty.
Right.
But I noticed that you continued to teach math for 36 years. Why was it important to be in the classroom?
Well, that was probably the favorite part of my job. I always loved teaching, and I taught a class that it was basically, I always say, a glorified general math class, but we made it very adaptive. And I would teach part-time after I quit coaching, but I just loved teaching. That was always favorite part. In fact, I really thought about once I retired, they asked me to be an adjunct, and I said, well, I really wanted to do it, but yet I didn't want to be tied down. I thought if I'm being an adjunct, I might as well stay and be a full-time teacher.
Art?
So I turned it down.
Al, you talked about helping out now with the NCCAA tournament, but for years you hosted the NAIA Division II National Championship, and those were great spectacles there at Keeter Gym.
That was a great event. You couldn't have asked for a better location, a better event, better timing. The first year we got that contract in 2000, a lot of the businesses in Branson weren't even open. We talked to Dixie Stampede into hosting, I say Dixie Stampede versus now Stampede, but hosting our opening banquet, and they weren't open yet. And I said, well, you can use it as a drive-through, sort of a practice run. And they did, and it just went over unbelievable. And we really had trouble finding hotels the first year because there weren't that many open, and we had to use a couple we really didn't want to use. But then the next year, the phone started ringing off the walls. What do we got to do to get involved in that tournament? And then everything started opening up, and that became the official, tip-off of the tourist season in Branson. And it meant a lot to this community. The money it brought in at a time when people weren't making money. And so that was a tough deal when, they decided to drop that tournament. Made a lot of people upset.
We had Adam Danye of Link Academy on a couple mornings ago, and he actually made reference to that tournament, as kind of the signature, non-season Branson event for that reason, to help out local tourism and bring in, teams, and that's what you guys did. And of course, you were able to get guys like myself and Art and other media people down there because you had probably the greatest hospitality room in the history of hospitality rooms down there. Yeah, when you have a Keeter Center and a culinary department on campus, it's a pretty good idea to let them run the hospitality area, right, Al?
Oh, it was great. Yes, it was. And, we could eat 3 meals a day in that hospitality room. I think I usually put on about 10 pounds during that tournament.
And Art, you probably remember this, but the highlight each year was they let Big Al run the remote control car out on the court during timeouts and stuff. Did you have more fun doing that or being the AD and coach down there?
Well, I wasn't very good at driving that car. I'd never done anything like that. It was scary. I was afraid I was going to run into a player or something like that. So I was very cautious, but I'm not sure it was fun. But a lot of people enjoyed watching me try to do that. I know that.
Al, some of your favorite teams, can you tell us about them? Some of the kids that'll always stick in your mind?
Oh, my goodness. I hate to almost do that, but you leave so many out. But, that 2000 team, the first year of the national tournament, we went all the way to the championship game, and it was that's one of the reasons why that tournament became such a success that first year. The people got behind us, and the last two nights we had to turn people away at that wanted to come and watch it. And that was just such a storybook finish. And that was a great group of young men. And, I always say my favorite win was at College Ozarks was probably my very first year there. The second last game of the season, we upset Southwest Baptist, and it kept us from losing 20 games. And the next day, their coach got fired because you don't lose. Back then, you didn't lose the School of the Ozarks. So, but anyway, there's so many people ask me those questions all the time, and I just have so many great success stories. I always sort of prided myself in taking some kids that I knew needed some help, for some reason or another, and help them try to turn their lives around. And I had a few that backfired, but probably more success stories than not.
Coach, a lot of people may not know. I'm sorry, Art.
Go ahead, Dave.
That you were drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, 19th round in 1970. Any regrets that you didn't give it a try?
Well, I gave it a try. I went up to the rookie camp.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I'm so flat-footed that I went up and we practiced 3 times a day, and after about 3 days I couldn't walk, so I was ready to cut myself. But when I coached in Kansas City, the Kings were there,
right?
And I used to go down during the summer and play with all the Kings at the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, okay.
I always felt I could have played. I played a lot back then. Of course, it was called AU, but it was all older people playing, and the talent playing. And I played about 4 nights a week. And then I was coaching 2 games a week. Drove my wife crazy, but and I played a bunch of tournaments, a lot of former Big 8 players and stuff, and came away with the MVP trophy a few times. So, I had a great career, but it would have been nice to have made it, but my feet kept me from doing a lot of things.
Al, I used to love Point Royale. One time I was playing there, and this gentleman wandered out into our fairway and apologized for his errant shot. It was Andy Williams. we said, "Sir, take all the time you need." And he hit his shot and then apologized again.
His wife still plays some, and she likes to play with us guys. She made a comment one time she doesn't like to play with women because when you get done playing with women, all their grandkids' names, their birthdays. And she says when you get done playing with guys, people ask you, "What did you talk about?" I said, "I have no idea." So she comes and plays with us once in a while. It's always great to have her out there.
Well, one of your legendary players down there and administrator for many years, Chris Larson, has been the GM at Point Royale. The fact that he played for you, if you don't like the way a sand trap's set up, do you go in and tell Chris to get it changed now or go run?
I tell him all kinds of stuff that he ought to be doing, yeah.
He loves that, doesn't he? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does. He's such a great guy. You talk about all my favorite players, and he's definitely one of them. I mean, I have a bunch of players I consider more sons than players, and he's one of them. And he lived with us for a summer when he was working down in Branson, but now out here I see him all the time, and he's such a great young man and doing a super job here at Point Royale.
Well, Big Al, you picked your successor as AD and coach in Steve Shepard. Kind of talk about how things ran with Shep as coach and now still AD, and kind of give us a state of the union on C of O now, because there were some rough patches there in recent years. I know there was a lot of backlash after the loss of the NAIA tournament. Where are things now with this administration in your mind?
Well, first of all, when I was coaching and trying to run that tournament, it was too much. So in 2002, I decided not to coach anymore. And I had always had my eye on Coach Shepard. I just thought the world of him. I thought he's a great person, and I thought he's a great coach. Talking about Evangel, it's interesting. When he went to become assistant at Evangel, Coach Jenkins became a lot better coach and a lot better golfer because he was out golfing and coach. And so, but, I asked Coach Shepard, before I made that decision, if I ever stepped down, would you be interested? He said, oh, yeah. So the day I decided, I gave him a call and told him to get his resume in. What a great choice. I mean, you couldn't have asked for it. He's a lot better fit at C of O than I was. And but anyway, as far as our administration or changes, Dr. Johnson is doing a great job, and he's got his interest in athletics and, got us back in the NAIA. And trouble with the NAIA, you almost have to be in a conference. It's so hard to be independent anymore. And so about the only chance they had was to get that Sooner conference, which is crazy. It's a nightmare for them. I mean, the bus trips, they have to go all the way to Wayland Baptist, which is a 14-hour bus trip, and then they go to Dallas about 3 times, and John Brown's, close. Everybody else is at least 5.5 hours away, and it's very tough conference. It's probably one of the best, conferences in the NAIA, and they're struggling. The girls have been doing well, but hopefully the new coach he's going to have to do a lot, get some good players, and that's always tough at C of O. You've got the work program to deal with, and when you're facing a lot of schools with, the full rides and everything, and so, but hopefully he'll do well, and I like the direction that they're going out there.
Well, Art, before we let Al go, and I want to get your thoughts on this, but I think one of the reasons we always paid so much attention to C of O, and you did on Sports Talk for all those years, is 3 of our favorite people were down there with Shep, with Big Al, and George Wilson. You knew going down there you were going to be treated just like you were family coming in, and you guys really appreciated anything the media did, and that always made us feel good about when we did it. Would you agree, Art?
Oh, absolutely. Those are three dandy people, and we had a lot of respect for them, and I think that's why C of O got a little more coverage back in those days.
Yeah, George was special too, wasn't he, Al?
Oh my gosh, was he ever? When we had a coach resign in June for the girls program, and I was trying like crazy to find somebody, and somebody came up to me and said, I know who you need to hire. And I said, who's that? And I said, George Wilson. I said, what a great idea. So I had to track George down. He was down in Houston, Texas, and said, George, come and bail us out for 1 year. And, 17 years later, he was, and what a career. And I always said I would have been a lot better coach and if he wouldn't have been around, though, because he used to come into my office every morning. I had the coffee pot, and 2 hours later, I'd almost have to chase him out of my room. I mean, the stories he and I would tell, but what a great guy. Yeah, I miss him. Unbelievable. Him and Coach Jenkins, 2 of my best friends. And yeah, it's tough.
Absolutely. Well, Al, we'll let you go. We know you got to go work on the short game. Is our goal to break 80 or 90? Where are we now on the golf?
Well, my goal is always to shoot my age. So I'm 78. And
okay.
So I have done that a couple times, but not very often. So if I get lucky, and that's my goal in golf, shoot my age.
Very good. Well, Al, we'll let you get to it. Again, our pleasure to have you on again, and let's stay in touch, okay?
Yeah. Art, good to talk to you. And
you
Dave,
too, Al.
Good to see you. Scott, thanks a lot.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Al.
All right.
Al Walter, the former head coach and AD at College of the Ozarks, one of our all-time favorites, and always love these Ozarks Legends because we get to catch up with people like Big Al. So going to take a timeout and be right back here on the starting lineup. Back on the starting lineup, I'm Scott Puryear. Ned Reynolds out today. Be back tomorrow with us. Dave Davis, kind enough to join us in studio, and joined by
Art Hains.
Art, if you make a list, and this would be, we like to do the Mount Rushmore thing, but if you did a Mount Rushmore of coaches that our young athletes just love to play for, those names we mentioned with Big Al, George, and Steve Jenkins and Steve Shepard, that'd be hard to knock them off, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would.
Yeah.
They were all great people and great coaches, and I would think very fun to play for.
And George Wilson, Dave, you can chime in on this too. George Wilson is one of those guys that if there was anybody that was equipped from transitioning from coaching boys to coaching girls, it was George Wilson, because he was just like playing for your grandpa pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. He was he's obviously a legend in the coaching ranks in Southwest Missouri, and I know people who knew him well that I've never heard a bad word.
You know, and aren't we know guys that have said, well, I think I'll go coach girls, and we're sitting there shaking our heads going, I don't think that's going to work very well for you. But, you know, Art, I know this is special having Coach Davis in, because you guys go way back to – I didn't realize that you were both sports information directors at one time.
Well,
sort of.
That's kind of – Dave was a student at Evangel, and he was doing the sports information work. Yeah. And I was – that was the 1 year out of college that I was in Marshall, my hometown, working for the newspaper. So I was out there covering a Valley Evangel game at Morrison Gym, and I met Dave that night in probably December of '76.
Sounds right. Yeah.
And the friendship started then. And
well, we just talked a lot. I don't know if we watched the game as closely as we should have. We started talking, and
it was a good game.
It was a good game. It was unfortunate how it ended, but it was a good game. I was happy to be doing that job as a work study position, because there was no SID at Evangel yet, and then shortly after they hired David Fillmore.
Yeah, what a great guy. Yeah. Another one, Dave Fillmore, and Evangel, same way. I mean, and that was the thing as a sports writer, and I know, Art, you felt the same way, is those schools just seemed to appreciate things more when you showed up or talked about them. And Evangel, and there were people, who did we have on talking about it was Dan Lucy. Yeah. When Dan was on with us, talking about how in the late 80s, early 90s, and it continued on from there. He went to Evangel just because they were so gracious, and, oh my gosh, Dan's here, we're going to be on the media. And in today's world, I think that's probably pretty rare. Wouldn't you agree, Art?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
that year I was in Marshall, I mean, the Missouri Valley games weren't on the radio. The football was, but not basketball. But I covered them for the newspaper, and I covered them like they were the Kansas City Kings. I mean, we had a lot of coverage of them. Well, they appreciated it.
And Dave Fillmore, I'll always remember going over to games at JFK Stadium and walking in, and Dave had made bologna sandwiches for the media.
Oh.
Budgets were tight.
Yes.
You'd get a paper bag with a bologna sandwich, a little cellophane wrap of chips, and a cookie, and it was the best bologna sandwich you would eat all season, because Dave put that time and effort into it and stuff. So,
well, we as a coach in the 80s, whenever Scott Puryear showed up to the park to cover a game in person, or any of your colleagues at the News Leader, that was extra fun. Well, we knew we were going to get some ink, and it's like somebody paid attention to us.
I went to a high school where we weren't very good at a lot of things, but, at the end, basketball's pretty good. But coming up here and going to then SMS and getting a feel for how important high schools were in this area, when they let me started doing that for the News Leader in '85, I mean, it was like, you got to embrace it, because it's big here. And, the high school beat arguably as big as Missouri State or any of the other ones, wouldn't you say, Art?
Yeah, and now they've got somebody again to cover them after a 1 year hiatus. So really good to see. I mean, and Liam Keating, the new writer, has already had some great articles about the Bears, and interesting to see about his high school coverage coming up.
Art, I think you were gone on your trip to Carolina when Dave was our guest on the Ozarks Old Timers Luncheon and came out to Golden Corral, which, by the way, the next one of those will be Wednesday, August 12th. But we talked to Dave about today's media, and kids, and it's not like it was where they could just say, hey, I'm going to go into TV and be a sportscaster, because now you got to be a multimedia journalist, and you got to be able to do Facebook Reels and post on Twitter. It really is a different age, Dave. And at the end of your run at Hillcrest, could you sense that from kids that there were so many things that they had to learn to do that a lot of them said, maybe I don't want to go this route?
One of the big changes was when I started the class in the fall of '89, and through those early years, it was, everybody watched the local news at night. At some point, even teenagers would catch the local newscast. They knew a little bit more about what news was or what it should look like, listen to it on the radio, what it should sound like. And as the years went by, fewer and fewer of the students I had in class were spending a lot of time consuming news.
Yeah.
And now, good luck. It's they want this stuff and out of the palm of their hands. They want it in about 20 seconds. And
On TikTok.
yeah. It's and the whole thing about verification, and making sure what you just watched or heard is legit. They don't take much time to do that, so they just kind of swallow whatever they're fed, and that's something in the classroom you've got to teach about that. And I think the other thing is we went from an era where my class at Hillcrest had the cool toys. Mm-hmm. Kids wanted to sign up. Well, now they're all walking around with a 4K camera in their pocket.
Yeah.
We're not special in that way. I mean, we can still provide cool facilities and, try to have something special, but we got to be honest, these kids they are the generation that has grown up with all of this now.
And the interesting contradiction on the TV news thing is they still have to sell ads and get people on for their 7 or 8 newscasts a day.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough news in our area to supply content for 7 or 8 newscasts without overlapping almost every show. But B, they cut their own throat in terms of viewership because they text out whatever just happened.
Yeah.
And they guide you to their app, and then you can read the story. And by then, I think most people are like, I'm good. I don't need to really know anything more.
It's really hard for high schools to cover sports. I'm not talking about live streaming the school's games. That's different. I'm talking about covering sports. It's instantaneous now. We get the sports results now. So you have to definitely pursue the feature angle. You have to find what we used to call the sidebar in print. That's the stories you go after as high school broadcasting.
Art, when was the last time you DVR'd something?
I don't know.
Been a long time, man, because it's no good to us 6 hours later because we've already seen 7 different times the final score.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not. I don't DVR sports events.
Yeah, but you did though one time, didn't you?
Yeah, but if I already know the outcome, I really don't want to watch the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the deal on that.
And
live sports is the one thing that you have to consume live, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else, you
Yes.
can do that.
Because you're going to find out what happened eventually, and it takes the thrill away from going back and watching it,
Yeah.
And I was going to say we talk more DVH now than we do DVR, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, once or twice, back in the day, like, now don't tell me the outcome.
Yeah,
I got it taped.
Well,
But,
and I used to hate
really
it when Rick Jester would be doing the PA at a Bears game and say, "Now in that other game, cover your ears if you don't want to hear this." First of all, you can't cover your ears and still not hear Rick Jester.
No.
It's coming through and stuff. But yeah, it was a time where you maybe could get by with watching. You go to a Bears game, tape a game, watch it when you got home. By now, you heard it 3 times or got a text update on the game you wanted to watch there too. So. Guys, let's take a time out, and then we're going to visit with John Nabors of Inside Arkansas, talk some Razorback sports. On the other side of this break, you're listening to The Starting Lineup. Back with The Starting Lineup, brought to you by Marshfield Chevrolet, Swing Right Golf, Plating Sports, and Citizens Bank of Rogersville. I'm Scott Puryear. Ned is out today. I'm joined in studio by Dave Davis, the longtime Hillcrest media coach, and then also on the line with us, Mr. Art Hains. And Art, we have a special guest. We're going to talk some Razorback sports now with our host of our Inside Arkansas show that is on every Monday at noon here on 102.1 The One. Welcome in John Nabors. John, good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great. You've been a traveling man. You're getting ready to do some more traveling. You were telling us about the SEC football media days and the grueling travel schedule to get back for that. And now you're complaining because you're leaving for the Bahamas tomorrow. Is that right?
Yes, tomorrow at 6 a.m. I fly out.
And it's a work trip, though. Tell us about how it's a work trip.
Yeah, so essentially, and we found this out about a month ago, so it was great. Razorback basketball with John Calipari and this new team announced that they are going to be playing some exhibition games against some national teams down in the Bahamas for the Baja Mar Hoop Summit, as they call it. And they're going to have 4 games in 5 days. It's not real competition as far as anything going towards the season. It's just kind of practices to have the team get to know each other. But there's a lot worse places to be playing these games than in the Bahamas. Never been there. In fact, the first time I ever left the country was earlier this year in my life. So why not make it twice in 1 year? So I'm going to be traveling to the Bahamas to check out this basketball team right before football fall camp gets going.
Well, before we get to the basketball thoughts there, football media days down in Florida and Tampa Arkansas picked for dead last in the preseason poll. I think you probably thought that might be the case going in. First-year coach Ryan Silverfield did not like being asked about his aura that he was portraying down there. But kind of your thoughts on Arkansas and how Silverfield was received.
Yeah, it's like I thought it was the stupidest thing ever about aura. I get it. Like, I'm going to admit, when it came all stemmed from some pictures that the University of Arkansas's Razorback social media account put up. And I mean, listen, they weren't the greatest pictures ever. It's not all of us can be beautiful people like us four here, right? I mean, sometimes you just gotta, be a little bit photogenic, but somebody just kind of took it and ran with it and said that, he looked like a guy who's working at a discount tire place, and it just kind of went viral from that. And so, again, I admit it was kind of funny, but it was also just a little bit over the top, where that's what Media Days is about asking dumb things that nobody cares about. So I get it. It's something to discuss because it's new, but I still think it was really dumb because who cares? Because if he was a coach that was coming off of a major winning season, or if he was a coach that had a team that people were thinking were going to do some damage in the SEC, it probably isn't even a conversation. But because Arkansas is the dog that you like to kick when it's down right now, they just added fuel to the fire for it.
He should have leaned into it and come out wearing a grease-stained shirt with his name in a circle on the front.
Yeah. Ryan on the left breast patch there. But John, is it going to be as bad a season as the media and all the polls would portray, or is there light at the end of the tunnel for football in Fayetteville this year?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they're going to finish last, but they ain't going to finish first. I can tell you that. They ain't going to be up there very high. Listen, I think that there's reasons to believe that Arkansas can win a couple games because there are winnable games. Not saying they will win for sure, but they're winnable. But I also am not going to argue with anybody that says Arkansas is the worst team in the SEC. I'm not going to be like, oh, you don't know ball, you don't know what you're talking about, because what is there to point to? Arkansas has maybe one of the most mysterious, unknown, but could potentially be worst quarterback situations. They didn't exactly have the best portal haul. They had a solid one, but not the best. They have more transfers in than any other program in the SEC. 80% of their roster are brand new players, and they're coming off of a literally 2-10 season. So it's just really hard for me to sit here and argue with anybody that says, hey, we think they're last. But I still believe that they're going to find a way to win a couple games this season. At least I hope so, because I cannot deal with 20 straight SEC losses to end this season. That's the losing streak they'll be on if that happens.
Wow. Art?
Yeah, so big picture on this. I mean, Arkansas is a proud program. Just ask their fans. But they're in such a rough neighborhood right now. They have competed pretty well in past years, but what has led to this bottom falling out?
And I'll tack on to that, John. Is this kind of the potential death knell for Hunter Yurachek, who Arkansas fans pretty much hate on a daily basis down there? If the Silverfield thing doesn't work out, could this be his end at some point?
Well, it should have been his end over a year or two ago. It should have been. This is just to your first question. The reason it got to this point is because of poor leadership and poor organization, just flat out. You have an athletic director and administration, and when I ever say Hunter Yurachek, it's kind of like when I talk about the president. It's not just him as the person. It's like the administration, the entire organization under Hunter Yurachek. They were so resistant to NIL. They were very anti-NIL. They kept just waiting and hoping and praying that the government or the NCAA or whoever would come in and throw a life jacket to them and get the rules back and regulated a little bit to where they can go within the rules. That's what they were waiting on and banking on, and it's failed miserably because still, here we are 2 years into this thing roughly, and there is no guidelines, rules. It's the Wild West. So instead of just doing what other schools have done and said, hey, until they change the rules, let's just do whatever we need to do to put together a great team and everything. It's more about, well, we're not going to overspend money here. We're not going to fundraise for this. We're just going to wait and hope and pray that things change. And when they do, it's all going to be great. And that's why you're in the position you're in right now. And that's why teams like Indiana or Ole Miss or Vanderbilt are far surpassing you, because They just embraced it and moved forward. You were resistant to it. And I'm hoping that this is the death nail. I don't know what it's going to take. I've had so many different coaches from different programs at the University of Arkansas reach out to me privately and directly, just saying, why does this guy still have a job? Like, why, what is it going to take for this guy to leave? Like, they're talking about current people on staff across the board. It's a very toxic situation right now, and I'm just hoping it comes to an end. And when it does come to an end, it'll be a celebration, but it'll also be a lot of frustrations because it'll be, why did it take so long?
But he is the guy that brought John Calipari to Fayetteville. And if they
he didn't.
Well,
no,
I mean, he was in office when it happened, put it that way.
Let's say you could have been in office and it would have happened.
Well, and that's I'm not the one saying, but I mean, there would be people that say, well, he did hire Coach Cal. They're going to have arguably their most talented team they've ever had this winter. Well, get your thoughts on that. If they go out and do what they can do or should do with that team, does that make Yurachek even more secure because of that or not, in your mind?
No, not at all. And of course, it's a thing where I think everybody, that was kind of what's really felt like was the beginning of the end. Once Cal got hired, it just seemed like he mailed it in and stopped doing things. Because up until John Tyson stepped in and said, hey, my buddy John Calipari, I can bring him in.
Yeah.
Arkansas is probably going to hire Jerome Tang from Kansas State, who's now been fired. Like, that's who was in the mix for Hunter Yurachek. And I think it just kind of showed he ain't it. Like, he doesn't have it. And he's trying to build his reputation back. He's been trying to leave Arkansas for a while now, but nobody will hire him. It's just a very, again, toxic situation. So the success of Cal, the success of basketball is going to be in spite of Hunter Yurachek, not because of him. He has had no involvement with it. This is all about John Calipari and John Tyson, and that they're like on their own island. You have every other sport on all together, but basketball is its own animal where it's almost like its own athletic department over there.
Well, and you said you guys were invited to watch a practice with this group that's playing down in the Bahamas, 4 games in 5 days. Is it the most talent that Arkansas has put on the floor this winter, and since when?
It's so young because I mentioned that it's a team that averages the age of 18 years and 3 months. Like, it is the youngest team you could possibly ever have. So talent-wise, right now where it stands, it's still going to be one of the best of all time at Arkansas. But that's just going off of sheer potential. Like, there is, if you're going to the full-fledged, if everybody pans out, if everybody plays the way that people are hoping for, this could legitimately be a team that ends up being the greatest and most talented Razorback basketball team of all time. And I think you'd have to maybe go back to the Nolan Richardson days of having that type of talent. They have a lot more depth. Again, they're just so young. But you could see potentially where you have 3 first-round draft picks from this team. And that, I think that may be even at a minimum. Because you have, if you're counting the guys that reclassified, if you're counting the guys that are overseas, if you're counting the guys that are coming in right now, you pretty much have 6 5-star players on this team. And you have the return of Billy Richmond, which was huge. You have a couple transfers that are really good. So if it all pans out, if it all works out, I mean, this could be a quintessential John Calipari team from the early, mid-2010s when he had a Kentucky. But again, because of the youth and inexperience, that's the only thing that's going to hold this team back. It ain't going to be lack of talent or lack of shooting or offense or anything. It's just the lack of experience may be a little bit weary of people jumping in on them. But if that's the only thing that they got to look forward to, or the only thing that you can say about them that may be a problem, I think they're in pretty good shape.
Art?
Both of you all explained to me, how do people reclassify? You're a junior in high school. Oh, I graduated.
Yeah, how does that work?
Well, it's so essentially what it is that as long as you have enough credits to graduate high school, maybe you took some summer classes. Maybe you just, maybe just talk to the right people. It's kind of just, you find ways, you find ways to make it work. It was kind of like, forever. Remember when it was a shock when you'd have kids transfer, or not transfer in, but graduate high school early and then play spring practice for football. It's kind of like, they're enrolling early. It's essentially the same concept. It's just a matter of finding the right pieces, finding the right places, and maneuvering it to where it's like, hey, come on over here and play right now. It's different in basketball than what it is in football. It's just a matter of, as long as you're on as long as you got the paperwork, essentially, you're good to go.
Well, and in Arkansas basketball case, a lot of the kids coming in were at academies, and academies can sometimes do things that are a little different than academically than your normal brick and mortar high school, public high school there too as well. So, John, before we let you go, DVH clearly not happy with the way things went for baseball, and basically, did he clean house? What kind of portal haul did the Hogs bring in for baseball for next spring?
Well, that's the thing is it's just so funny that, hey, we're not happy with the way things went. This was bad, even though they still won 17 dadgum SEC games. Like, that's just so, but that's the expectation. It's like, that's a bad year. But no, there's no doubt that whatever it was that Dave Van Horn did, which I have an idea, he was basically left on his own. Like, the portal haul was maybe not as great last year because he didn't have the funding. He was kind of cut and it kind of had the rug pulled out from under him. And he was basically told, hey, if you want the funding, you got to go do it yourself. So Dave's like, all right. So he went and did it himself. He went and talked to his own people, and he got his own funding, and he brought in one of the best portal classes in the country. Now, they got some guys returning that'll be huge in development. They got some young guys that you're hoping can take some next steps. But I think on paper, right now, this is a team that is built to go back to Omaha. Doesn't mean they'll win it all, because we all know it's tough. But the expectation is Omaha, and if they don't make it to Omaha, it is a massive disappointing season. So I think that's what Arkansas is going to be doing. But yeah, he had a great haul. He's had a lot of great things going on right now. I think it's going to be a comeback season for the Razorbacks. And it just still makes me laugh. I'm talking about a comeback season after going 17-13 in the SEC. But that's the expectation. And that's Dave's expectation too.
One quick one in this NIL era, that they just keep winning track and field championships every year. Do they do much NIL for track and field, or the kids just come there because of the tradition?
They do more NIL for track and field than you would think, and than you would probably see from any other school or sport, which sometimes is provided by other people, but sometimes it's, it's a type of thing where it's a great program and it's a national championship winning program and it does a really great job. And that's all it takes is just to continue to try to build it. But yeah, it's like, is it as much NIL as football, basketball, baseball, or anything like that? Nowhere close. But for track purposes and compared to other schools, yeah, it's pretty high.
Very good. John, pack some sunscreen, enjoy your time in the Bahamas, and let's catch up again down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to work really hard while I'm down there, and I'll be making sure to think about you guys the entire time I'm there, too. All
right. Have a safe trip, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, John.
Appreciate it, guys.
John Nabors of Inside Arkansas. He's on every Monday here on 102.1 The One at noon. It's a great program. You get all the hog talk you can call there, but does a great job with that. Inside Arkansas is his website as well. Going to take our final time out here. This is the starting lineup. We'll be right back after this. Back with the final segment of the starting lineup, brought to you by Marshfield Chevrolet, Citizens Bank of Rogersville, Play It Again Sports, and Swing Right Golf. Our appreciation, all four of those great sponsors. Scott Puryear, joined by Dave Davis in studio, subbing for Ned Reynolds, who'll be back tomorrow, and
Art Hains.
Art, we talked briefly about the Royals and the Alex Lang game last night, the two-run walk-off homer by Royce Lewis. I think they said that was his first at bat as a pinch hitter, I think, this year.
Yeah, it wasn't a homer. It stayed in the park.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Off the top. Yeah, and I said homer earlier. Exactly. Yeah. It was way up there on the wall, wasn't it? And right. And then bounced away and ball game over. But I think that's 8 consecutive one-run games the Royals have been involved with now.
Maybe 9.
9?
And there's 6 and 3 in those games, but last night was one of the 3.
Yeah, and of course, this all coincides with your trip to Kansas City when they got beat. Was it 19-2 or 17?
Oh. Yeah, 19-2.
19-2, yeah. Then
they played so well, and I got that one.
Yeah,
but the last 3 innings were in a suite, so that was better. We were watching soccer.
Yeah, watching the World Cup final. Picture Art Hains at a Royals game watching the World Cup final.
It's just wrong.
In a suite because the baseball's not going well for him out there.
But, when Tyler Tolbert's in there giving up 6 runs in the ninth, lobbing it up there at 48.
What do you guys think about some folks have thrown out there the idea of preventing position players from coming in and mopping up, that it's kind of making a mockery of the game? I mean, it's got a long history of happening, but.
Yeah. No, I'm not for that. I mean, if you're totally beat, you save an inning of your bullpen, of your real bullpen. So I think that's a valid choice.
Yeah, you're probably not coming back from 19-2. Down.
No. Well, it was 13-2.
13-2 when he came in. Yeah, probably not coming back from that either. But no. Art, I was telling Dave that first hour that the National has a I'm sorry, the Athletic has the National. Boy, there's a blast from the
Wow,
past. Remember that? Yeah.
Whew, time warp.
The Athletic has a story team by team on what they expect at the trade deadline. And from a Royals standpoint, it said Lane Thomas will go somewhere. They'll get some prospects there, but trying desperately to move Lugo and Waka, because of their age, because of their contracts. The Braves were mentioned as a landing spot for Waka. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs, with their pitching, the way it's been ravaged with injury, that one of those guys might wind up in Chicago. But in your mind, it's just get whatever you can and get them off the payroll?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, they're having hard enough time filling the rotation right now. If you lose one or two of those, I don't know how they'll field a team. But, yeah, that's the wise thing to do.
And they're about to get healthy, aren't they? Didn't you say Bobby Witt Jr.'s back when?
Friday, I think.
Friday.
When they start in Colorado.
Although I did see that, didn't Vinny P go out with the hand soreness?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's not good.
So that's troubling. Kyle Isbell is about to be back, and Mikhail Garcia, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's frustrating to me, Art, is that division's just garbage. It's there for the taking.
Yeah,
the Royals,
it is.
I thought this was going to be their year.
Well, and
I did too.
Any other year, the Tigers would have packed in the Scooble thing a month ago.
Yeah.
But they look at that top of the division and go, we still have a chance, even though we're, 8 or 9 games under 500, which, Dave and I don't think they really do have a chance.
No,
what do you think?
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a good team, but they just haven't played up to it.
Would you trade Scooble and get what you can?
I'm getting to lean that way, yeah. They haven't played very well here of late. I mean, the Royals beat them the last 2 games of that series, and then they lost again. So, yeah, I think their playoff hopes are kind of fading.
He's gone.
Yeah, I don't know, Dave, where you don't want to see him go. Obviously, the Dodgers would be the top
Well,
one, right?
yeah, I mean,
if he goes to a Milwaukee or even a Philadelphia, I've seen them mentioned, anywhere but the Dodgers or the Yankees, it's okay, isn't it?
It is, and Tampa Bay would love to have him. I mean, it's a rental, so they're not going to get stuck with his $400 million contract that's coming. But the Cardinals are out of this. They never were really in it. I would love to see the Brewers or the Rays win their first World Series. Wouldn't bother me.
Me too. I hope he goes to one of those places.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dave, we certainly appreciate you coming in this morning, pinch hitting for the old-timer Ned Reynolds, and hopefully we can call you and you'll do it again. Did you have fun?
Oh, yes. It's always fun, and I'm just honored to be asked.
Well, we appreciate you, and we'll, of course, see you at the Hall of Fame ceremony September 29th.
You bet.
Dave Davis going into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame. That's going to do
Scott Puryear.
That's going to do it for this morning's show. Again, thanks for listening. I am Scott Puryear. He is Dave Davis, and from
Art Hains.
We will see you tomorrow on the program.
See ya.